Yeah, so let's start. So, very good morning, everyone, to the first demo session of JMeter uh, with AWS, Kubernetes, Docker. So, we will be and even we will be covering AppDynamics in this course. So, this course is mainly developed in such a way that you get an end-to-end scenario. Like, let's say you are joining as a performance engineer or a tester. So, it's not that always you will be only scripting. So basically, in performance engineering, we say the performance engineering test life cycle, or we can say performance engineering life cycle. It consists of mainly planning, scripting, execution, and analysis, right? So you need to know mainly to do all these activities. Not that you need to know only scripting, or you cannot like in interviews also you cannot crack in interviews if you are good at only one thing out of this. So you will get questions from wide areas of these. Okay, so you need to be good at these, at least one of the tools from each of these categories. So this course is also modeled in such a way that you excel in those each categories. For example, now as I said, so if you are an engineer or a performance engineer, if you take the cycle, okay, you start with planning, then you have scripting, then you have execution, and analysis, right? So now in this course, if you see how the course is there and the syllabus which we are covering. So for example, for scripting and execution, we will be obviously seeing the tool JMeter extensively. Okay, so how to script, like how to do some performance test in JMeter, like how to script your any application, like let you take any web services or mobile app application or any REST APIs. So how you test it, right? So that we will learn using the tool JMeter. Now to do this planning, you need to be very good at the architecture or the current technologies which are there in the market, right? So that's why we will be learning Kubernetes, what is Docker, what is AWS basics. So that we will be learning, okay, so that you are good at planning like the architecture, to understand, to read the architecture. Not that you will be developing anything, but as a tester there is some basic knowledge which is expected in the market. Okay, so that we will be covering, like what is required from the Kubernetes side. So for example, when you're learning Kubernetes, though you might not develop anything in Kubernetes, but you need to know how to read that Kubernetes, how to debug Kubernetes, how to understand the issues in Kubernetes or Dockers or containers. Okay, and even AWS, how to do some basic configurations or connections in AWS. What are the basic components which you will come across in AWS or any cloud. Okay, so when we speak about AWS, what I will do is parallelly I will call out the names which you will see in Google Cloud or Azure. In that way, what will happen is you can easily correlate, because what happens in cloud is things are very much common. Okay, like for example, AWS you have EC2. Similarly, in Google Cloud we have compute engines. So it's pretty much similar. But the things, only thing what changes is how you the names. Okay, the names are changing, but the things remain pretty much similar. Okay, so in that way you learn about the cloud. Then scripting side, obviously, after you know how to plan and how to read the architecture, you know how to script and execute. Now, analysis is a very important part, right? This is where the return on investment comes into picture, because you test something and you give the analysis regarding that test, what you're observing. So based on that only, your developers or you will be fixing that system, right? So for that, you need to have a proper analysis knowledge. And for analysis, mainly we will be learning the tools like Grafana, Prometheus, InfluxDB, then something called Telegraph. Okay. Now, even if we speak about, these are like monitoring, we can say. Okay, we can consider and group this into monitoring. Now, if I say profiling, okay, or we can say APM. Okay, that's what the word you would have heard more. We will learn AppDynamics, So in this way, what we are doing is we are covering an end-to-end scenario what a performance tester will experience in his journey, or we can say in his work life. Okay, because no one will be doing only one step out of this. Okay, they will be every one our engineer or tester will be doing all this. Maybe this one he might not. There will be business analysts or maybe the architects who might plan, okay, for you. But ultimately, you will have to at least create a test plan. Okay, so you need to know that. So planning, then scripting, obviously you will have to do. Execution, you will have to do. Analysis, obviously there is no way you can escape analysis. You will have to do. So in these scenario, how will you do these things? Okay, that's what we will be covering in this course from starting to end. And even the flow of the course is also in such a way that we go from planning to analysis. Okay, so we will start with like how to read an architecture, different types of architectures, what basics of Kubernetes, Dockers, containers, AWS, and how to run few different commands in a Kubernetes, how to write a basic shell script. Okay, because when we hear about script, okay, people get worried. Oh, script is very difficult. Scripting is very difficult. But you might feel it very easy when I will show you some techniques or tricks to write these scripts, which you will be using in your deployments, or like let's say we can say this little bit of a level where you have to show some expertise in this performance engineering. And even these scripts are pre-built. You can use it directly. I will be sharing these files to you, so you will be able to use this in your projects also. So the scripts I will be sharing. Then once we learn about the basics of Kubernetes, what we will be doing is we will be seeing the JMeter extensively. We will be seeing all elements, recording,
Huh?
testing, and everything. If someone is not speaking, can they go on mute, please? Yeah, thank you. So and next is BeanShell, which is a very important scripting available in JMeter. We will be seeing BeanShell scripting. So how to write some basic BeanShell scripts for the basic objectives like writing variables to a file, or creating new variables, using the variables, and all those stuff. Okay, we will be seeing that. Yeah, and now the main thing. Okay, so after analysis, obviously, we'll be seeing the monitoring tools like Grafana and all. Now, there is one more demand in the market, right? For CI/CD. Can anyone say what CI/CD?
Continuous integration continuous.
Yes. So this is now a demand in the market which no one can escape. Okay. So that's why we have also included in this course Jenkins with JMeter integration. Okay. So you will be learning also how to integrate JMeter with Jenkins. Okay, so that way you will be able to automate your tests, even automate your test report generations using the Jenkins tool. So now this is basically the tools which you will learn in this overall course. Okay. Now if I go to the course syllabus, anyways, this whatever syllabus is mentioned in the website, or it's mentioned. So basically, this is what we'll be covering in an overall nutshell. Okay, and deeper way, uh, and more deeper, like we will be learning JMeter very extensively, and also the analysis of on each tools. How will you do, and all those stuff you will learn. So any questions, anyone till now?
Hi, Vishnu.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, so any monitoring tool you're suggesting
Yeah.
for us?
Yeah, so basically in this course we are covering Grafana, Prometheus, InfluxDB, because these are open source tools which we have. Now if you go for paid ones like New Relic and all, it will be similar. If you learn one tool, you can learn other tools also.
Okay, so what about Dynatrace?
Dynatrace, we are covering AppDynamics, which is very closer to Dynatrace. So if you know how to use AppDynamics, Dynatrace, you will be able to easily correlate with this.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Vishnu, are we going to cover like NFR?
Yes, exactly. So in test plan, when we are speaking about the planning, right? So that time we will be looking into some topics like, for example, test plan document, how to create a test plan document, or we some people call it test strategy document also. Then we have script definition document. Then we have something called workload modeling document. So in this, we will be covering the NFR section also in test plan.
Okay.
Yeah. Because basically what happens now, sometimes even NFRs you might have to create because if especially when the client is not aware of performance much. So in those situations, how to create an NFR also we will discuss. Like from if a new application you are getting and you want to create the NFRs for that, like you want to create the test plan for that. How will you create it? Okay, how to analyze the application and find out what are the parameters we need to decide and how what are the key metrics which we need to plan. Okay, how to do that we will discuss.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So how many hours will this entire training take?
Yeah, basically the training we I generally plan to complete in 40 hours. Generally because there are a lot of topics which we need to cover. So this is the minimum which I need to cover all this. So only thing is 40 hours means generally what I do is one it's a working days, right? Like, so 5 working days I get, so 1 hour 5 per day I will take the session. And sometimes what happens is like just if the audience are okay or if they want to finish it little early, I might take some Saturday, maybe 2 hour sessions, some Saturdays, not all Saturdays, and that also based on the audience how they respond. If they have some weekend plans and all, I will surely not take any class on those days. And also one more thing, sometimes, like for example, if I'm taking Kubernetes, so Kubernetes, I might not be able to continuously complete in 1 hour. So that time it might go to maybe sometime 1 hour, 15 minutes, or maybe around 1.5 hours, because there are some topics here which need a continuity. So in those situations, I will inform you little early that tomorrow's session might take around 1.5 hours. So yeah, just a heads up.
So Vishnu, will be there hands-on experience as well, like
Yes,
installing
yes,
everything and
exactly.
working.
Yeah. So basically, see, we will be deploying one application called SockShop onto our Kubernetes cluster. So what basically we will be doing, no? Will be just I will explain you that. So basically, we will be creating a Kubernetes cluster. So you will in this process you will learn most of the basics regarding Kubernetes, kubectl commands, different tools which you need to install for Kubernetes. What is kubeadm? What is containerd? What is Docker? And all those you will learn. Okay, once you create a Kubernetes cluster, we will deploy a sample microservice based application called SockShop. So in this process, what you will learn what is microservices and how to test microservices and all those stuff. Okay, so that we will be doing. Then we will be onto this over to this. We will be deploying our monitoring tool. Okay, so basically all this we will be doing hands-on on your local machine, so you don't need to have further dependency also that you don't have an account or because you can do everything on your local machine. And once you do this, so you basically you get a clear hands on each of these, like not only microservice, not only Kubernetes, not only the monitoring, even we will be running the test in JMeter at the same time. So you will get an end-to-end scenario for hands-on. I hope that answers your question, right?
Hi, where can I find the course syllabus?
Yeah, you can find the course syllabus. Just a minute. I will put the link in the chat.
Oh, yeah, sure. Thank you.
But you can ask me any question because the course syllabus might not convey correct. Maybe you might have confusions in. For example, are you covering this? So you are expecting something. I can call out if I'm not covering or if it's out of scope.
We cover
Yeah. Right.
mobile performance
Hi,
also.
Sunil. Yeah. Yes. We when we are doing in JMeter section, we are focusing on testing web service